DMJ in the USA.
Woo!
Jesus.
Don't you go little G guys?
Yeah, I did then. Yeah, power. The echo.
Welcome. Episode number
26.
26 of Ask the Boss. Very special celebrity edition. We have none other than Massive Joe himself, Joseph Mansell,
What up, what up, what up?
owner, founder, what would you call yourself? I guess founder
Yeah, you can say
of,
that.
of Massive Joe's,
Yep.
the biggest online Australian retailer
We've seen thus far.
thus far. Yes.
There you go.
And Swobate, his personal assistant. Just kidding. What is your title? National
No, it's a
Wholesale.
wholesale accounts man.
Steve
So,
is
mate,
national
I'm telling
sales
you, like I could not be Joe's personal assistant. I'd punch him out within a week. I'd be like, bang.
Joe doesn't have a personal assistant because they all get fired.
Exactly. Yeah. They can't handle the heat.
Except for Millie.
Yeah.
Millie can handle it.
She can handle it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to jump right into the questions. We don't know what the questions are. Meaty has been assigned with.
Well, we made several posts. I think we had one on our page, Massive Joe's page, and Joe's personal page. And then I came up with some questions for myself, so we could be here for a while.
Can we not focus on the Cavs here? Let's not focus on the Cavs. Crazy.
All right, let's get into it. All right, right now I'm on Joe's page. Doug, is there anything new in the pipeline for Miracle Labs? Can we expect any new Core or Miracle Labs products for Australia?
Absolutely. We just had a 3-hour conversation about this.
Yeah. So we can't give away the details.
So to put it in context, the only products that we have in Australia from Miracle Labs at the moment are Stars and Pipes and Red, White and Boom with DMHA.
Right.
That's it.
So we have the new version of Red, White, and Boom without DMHA. And then we have on the water as we speak, Maracaminos, and
In all three flavors.
3 flavors. Impeachment, Make America Great Again, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and all 3 flavors of the Patriots Way.
Yep.
So double stuffed, Yosemite S'mores, and Fortuitous Keepsakes. So they will be landing, we decided, mid-ish October.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I think they land on the 16th in Port Adelaide, which means usually like a week after that. So let's say towards the end of October.
Yeah.
So those are coming soon for America in Australia. For Core, got a bunch of stuff. So we have Mango ABCD. So that's going to be shipping out next week.
Yep.
So we're looking at like November for that.
Yep.
We have,
The load.
the load.
Yeah, the load
In the air.
The load should be next week.
Yeah.
The load is landing.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're ready for the load.
We're going to drop the load, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the load will be dropping. Epic glucose disposal agent, so that'll be next week-ish, right? So it's those 2. Then we got Zap, so it's our high stim focus pre-workout. Also shipping next week, so we're looking at 3 months. 3 months for that.
Yeah.
Crystal Star Candy, aka Starburst ABC. So we're thinking October, we will have it in hand, October 1. So depending on whether or not there's an air freight urgent
We'll
order
be
in
looking
there.
at towards the end of the year for that one.
Yeah, so it's
Towards
probably
the end of
about
this year.
3 months
Yeah.
after that. And then also a natural form of ABC, so using stevia and monk fruit, so natural ABC and cherry lemonade, same time as the Crystal Star Candy.
Yes.
And I don't know if we want to tell them what we're working on for the other ABC flavor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Tell the people.
Yeah.
So what name? What name?
Orange
Sherbet.
So this is after the Australian lolly,
Yeah.
right?
Sherbies, yeah.
Known as Sherbies.
Yeah.
So we're very close. I think we might nail it next week.
Yeah. When you finally get it, you'll be able to say, I got you your orange sherbet.
So is it just Australian orange sherbet?
So I think right now this is where we ask Bobby Bands
Yeah.
to bing. I think we need some Austin Powers in our life.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone needs us to tell that shit.
Okay, good. All right, I think that's it. Are we good?
Yeah,
That's pretty good. I think he gave him what he wanted. This guy wants to know, or can you explain a little bit more about the Miracle Labs product Liberty Balls and compare it to Cortez? Thanks, guys. Stay massive.
I'll leave that.
I'll take that as a no. Next question.
I just didn't know if we, because the only thing is, I mean, I can certainly answer that question, but it's not relevant to the Australian market.
Nah, that's it anyway.
Okay. So Core Test has a couple different anti-estrogens in it. It has the D-aspartic acid, the bolbine. So really, when you're looking at test boosters, or the way I look at them is looking for different ingredients that work through different pathways.
Yeah.
And so when we created Liberty Balls, we wanted to make sure that we had a product that wasn't overlapping too much with either alpha or test from core. So it could either be stacked together or run continuously after an alpha or test cycle. So Liberty Balls, the main ingredients, and there is some overlap in the products. But the main ingredient, I would say the superstar in Liberty Balls is the spilanthes. That it really is, especially the new research that's coming out and the blood work that we've seen in the spilanthes is really what separates it. I think it's going to be the next DAA out there. So the D-aspartic acid craze, where every test booster had D-aspartic acid, I think soon it's going to be spilanthes.
Yeah.
And how does you mentioned different pathways? So for people who don't know, how does spilanthes work? What pathway does it work through?
I don't know offhand.
Okay.
Just
Well, neither do I, because I haven't seen the ingredient before.
Yeah, so look. So I don't know sitting here the exact pathways of how spilanthes work. So there you go. That's the 100% honest answer. So the way we've seen it, so we've done blood work with it, and actually I just got done running a stack of Liberty Balls, and my test levels are higher, as high as they've ever been or higher. It was 930 or something like that, which is high.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to get some Liberty Balls.
I was gonna say,
Sounds like it.
You need to get some balls.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Yeah.
I ran my blood work. I've done a couple of times now with Core Hard and Core Test, and I saw like a ridiculous increase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was like my test levels like tripled
Yeah.
from like baseline to when I did 12 weeks of Core Hard and Core Test.
Yeah, we've done alpha and hard work in the US, and we've shown like double.
Yeah.
We've shown from like, if you're on the low end of the range, like 300s, 400s, we've seen like up to 100% increase in test.
Yeah.
If you're already, in the medium to medium high, if you already have 600 or 700, we show an increase, but it's more on the order of 33%, 50%, something like that. You're not going to go to, exogenous hormone supplementation levels of like 2,000 or even, even over 1,000 is pretty ridiculously high. So anyway, so spilanthes, I think more research needs to be done. There is a write-up of the ingredient on our website. Actually, no, there wouldn't be yet because we're redoing the Merca website, so I take that back. So, but we will have that information up soon. So, info coming. But you can stack it with test, or you could run it separately as a separate path or separate cycle.
Cool. I like this question. What values do you think your companies share?
Between like Massive Joe's and Corners and American Labs. And,
Why don't you take this one, Joe?
No, absolutely. I guess the first and probably the most obvious that people would see through videos is practicing what we preach, which is something, believe it or not, in the supplement industry is quite rare.
Definitely.
A lot of companies talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. So, we all live this lifestyle, we all train, we all diet, we all take product. So we practice what we preach.
Our business meetings are in the gym usually.
Yeah.
Like when we're talking about products and stuff like that, it's not like at the bar or at a fancy steakhouse or dinner. I mean, obviously we go out to dinner and stuff, but a lot of that gets done while we're working out usually.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably the most obvious one. And then I guess probably the less obvious ones, but if you kind of dig a little deeper, you can figure it out, would be ethics, most definitely. And would be customer focus. So, everything that we do is focused on delivering the best possible result to the customer, to the end consumer. And that goes from advice to what goes into the products, to the flavoring systems, to how we deal with customers, to how we treat customers, to loyalty programs, everything that we do, that really is the driving force for us.
Yeah, and I also think in an industry where it's just often driven 100% by profit and margin and all of that, I think the reason why Core has been so successful, Core is a brand that it's my baby, but it takes a little bit of education. People need to see the value of what we're doing, to see, why do I make such an overly dosed or properly dosed, really, in my opinion, products that might cost a little bit more. There's still a great value, and it needs to have a little bit of education there. So I think one of the reasons why we've clicked so well is because these guys see the mission that we have with the brands, and they appreciate that. And so they're not just necessarily worried about selling the product with the biggest margin all the time. It's getting the best results for their customers so that they come back and buy again. You can sell them a crap product with a really high margin, but they're not going to come back and buy that product again. If you give them, a really good value for a great product, they're going to come back and keep buying. So that's definitely
being a resource for your customer.
yeah.
All right, when I was in the retail, running the stores, the employees, I would tell the employees, when your spare time, you go to Master Joe's YouTube and you watch the raw review. So explaining the products, I think, and being a resource to the customer. I think all of us do that. So.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Swole. This guy, he wants to know, are more reps or going heavy, which is better for muscle hypertrophy?
Ooh, good one. I'd say do both. You want to try and increase that volume, but as well keeping it at the maximum amount of weight as you can possibly do. So that's the way that I prefer to train. I know that's the way Doug trains. It's a lot of volume, but you don't want to, when you're doing like those higher reps, like if you're going from 10 to like 20 reps, you don't want to go for a lighter weight. You don't want to drop it down too much. You want to make sure that you're completely pushing that muscle and making it fatigue as much as you possibly can. So that's, I think, the hole that people get stuck into is they go, all right, I'm going to do like 20 reps for a few weeks, but they drop their, and do like 30 or 40% of their 1 rep max, when they should be doing probably, 50 to 60 or even 70% of their 1 rep max. So
I think the real key here is the T. Miller extended hypertrophy.
definitely. Yeah. So we made this up last night and we trademarked it already.
Sets.
It's just
20 reps.
working sets of 20 reps.
That's
Going up in
pretty
weight.
much going up in weight every set. And that's all it is. So, but yeah, that's I think what it is you need to have that combination of two. So you need to go, you can do the higher reps, but make sure the weight's not too light as well.
Yeah, a lot of the sets that I end up doing are 20 rep sets, but it's like, it's because if I put the stack on it, I can still do 20 reps.
Yeah.
Or if I, why would I stop at 10? I'm not taxing or totally fatiguing the muscle at that point.
Yeah.
So I tell people, don't let that limit you. You can still go heavy and go 20 reps.
But for the people who I guess haven't trained for as long as you though as well, they still want to do those, the heavier, powerlifting type rep range where you're doing really, really heavy weight with lower reps to help build their strength up. Because no one's going to be able to go in and do 20 reps of the stack straight off. That's going to come with years and years of experience and training. So you need to, periodize your training at the same time. So do some higher repetition work for a few weeks and then go into your lower repetition work as well. And do that really, completely max out that weight, your muscles with the strength type of training.
Cool. Great answer. All right. So you guys are here for the Olympia. So Olympia predictions. People want to know.
They're here to see you, Meaty.
Yeah.
Besides
We're not here in
the
Virginia for the Olympia.
Yeah. We're in the United States for the Olympia. Damn it! Just answer the question. All right, Olympia predictions. Go.
What are we doing? Just top?
I don't know. Top 3.
Top 3? That's a tough one. So I'd go, it feels obviously... Ding! So, it's like filling the rest really, isn't it? So, I'd like to see for myself, I'd like to see Jocelyn Nardowicz come top 6. Ding! So if he could come top 3 would be amazing, but top 6, I'm not going to give the rest to him, so...
But a lot of people are pulling for him too.
Yeah, he's obviously been through a fair bit lately, so I'd like to see him in the top 6 minimum. I think Big Ramy is going to be a big improver on last year. That's the other one I'm going to go for.
See, everyone always says that about Big
Yeah, I think he's looking
and
good
everyone
this year,
comes away from the Olympia disappointed.
I think he's going to make an improvement on last year. That's all I'm going to say.
That's what you said last year.
I got him as top 3.
There you go.
And Dexter is in there. Ding! 2.
Yeah.
I've got Phil Heath, Jeremy Buendia, and Flex Lewis. I went for the top 3 in different
I was
categories.
going to say, mate, Jeremy's not in the open, but
No, Phil will win bodybuilding, Jeremy will win.
Jesus.
Yeah, and
wow,
Flex
you
will
should
win
really take that to sports bet, mate, and
Flex-
see if you
Flex
can
will
put that
win.
on
Go
a
to
bet
the
right now.
trifecta. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
you
why,
know what you get, about
honestly,
$1.03.
and this is why bodybuilding is boring.
Yeah.
Because it's too easy to predict. There's no competition.
No.
Could you imagine if
The odds on that are not that.
No,
I
they've already
totally
paid out for
get
that.
that.
Like, you know, you've collected your check as soon as you
But
put
you
a
think
bet on,
about
you get
it,
it back straight away.
If, for example, a big sport here in the US is football, NFL. If the same team won the Super Bowl 10 years in a row,
Yeah.
horrible for the sport. People would just switch off because it's boring to watch,
Yeah.
and that's the problem with bodybuilding across all divisions. It's too predictable.
But the question is it correct? So like legitimately,
winning,
yes.
I think
I think those 3 to
Yeah.
me, that's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, but if you go back a few years ago, like I personally think Phil shouldn't have won a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, if you're off, you should lose regardless.
Yeah, but I think, you know,
Yeah.
that's, unfortunately with the sport, there's politics coming to it as well.
Yeah.
So that's just what it is.
I would say it's any sport that's subjective.
Yeah,
You're always going to have politics.
yeah.
So
There you go, Phil's going to win. But everyone knew that already.
Yeah. All right, cool. So now, moving on.
Moving on.
Ready?
on to the next.
He's
one.
probably like, Bobby's probably like, I'm so glad you moved on from that question.
No more dings.
It's gonna be raining bodybuilders.
All right. Let's see. Joe, Massive Joe's.
Yeah.
You definitely built your brand on social media.
Uh-huh.
Doug, looks like we're going more towards that direction with Baby Bird up here.
Mhm.
How influential is social media to your brand?
How influential is social media to
Yeah.
our brand, or how influential is our brand on social media?
I guess you
I
can
think
look at it both ways.
There's two different ways.
Let's look at it as, how influenced is I guess, social media. Or Oh, I don't even know what you asked now.
Well, I asked how influential media, the social media part,
Yeah.
is to the brand.
Do you think you could have built as successful of a company without social media?
Well, the thing with social media is it's the next frontier or the current frontier in digital advertising. So we used to have, a lot of people don't really kind of conceptualize that. They kind of see social media as, Facebook and Instagram kind of accept it for what it is, but don't understand that effectively what you're doing is you're reaching a broad number of people very quickly, very easily in real time that you can get real-time data from. You go back before digital advertising existed at all, before we had Google, before we had social media, and if you wanted to advertise, what did you do? Magazine, because it reached a number of people in your target demographic. If you wanted to advertise locally, you might do like a letterbox drop, because you're advertising people within that target, which is your local area. You might have advertised in newspapers, once again reaching a bunch of people that are within a target demographic. So then digital advertising came across, and you've got Google advertising, for example. So now you can go and target not necessarily a fixed demographic, but you can specifically target people who are searching for you. So that kind of flipped the way that we advertise on its head. And then social media came along, with Facebook is definitely the big driver, because now you can target very, very specifically. So if you compare it to, say, magazine advertising, where you might have run an ad in a muscle magazine, so you know at that point that people who are reading that magazine are interested in bodybuilding and supplements, and there's it's targeted, but it's still quite broad.
Right.
Whereas social media now, we can go, if we know that somebody has liked the America Labs page or has interacted with America Labs on some level, we can get that information from Facebook and we can target that specific person. If someone has visited our website, massivejoes.com, and then used Facebook and has cookies enabled on their browser, we can target people who have visited our website within the last day, 2 days, week, month, whatever. So social media now is really about, it's revolutionized the way that we advertise, and it's just an advertising medium. So what effect social media has had on us, not just us, it's had an effect on the entire industry of how you advertise and how you target people and where you spend your advertising dollars. So it's much more than, Massive Joe's has a big Instagram following, Facebook following, and 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's much more in depth than that. But I guess that's kind of what people see, is they're like,
Hey,
it's
Bob.
a big following.
Just make my head go like this. That was great. So yeah, I mean, it's not just influential to the brand. It's our current times.
It's the way of
advertising.
the future. I think
Yeah.
if as a business you're not taking advantage of that form of digital advertising, you're missing a big opportunity to specifically target people who your competitors aren't.
Yeah.
Good. Cool. Let's move on. Let's see. I like this. So talking about leadership, how do you facilitate a positive work environment in a work environment that attracts people and retains people?
That's a tough question.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think that's something we can always improve on. You know, I mean, like this industry sees or these types of environments, especially retail, you see a lot of turnover. You know, it's like you really need to. At least I try to instill like kind of a vision of our company and where we can be and where the individual can get to. I want them to try to see that so that they can make this a career. You know, because a lot of people come in and work in retail and it's just because they need a side job and need some cash.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
And
an
then
interim job.
and that's the reason why we started our stores, is because like you'll get that in GNC. You'll get that in Vitamin Shop. Somebody who doesn't even really know about supplements but wants to make $10 an hour just for a side job or something like that. So for me at least, you know, I want to see somebody who can really is very passionate about this industry. You know, that's number one. I don't care if they don't have to be bodybuilders. You know, in fact, a lot of bodybuilders are not good employees. But then set up a system where then, you know, if they grow, they can be more successful, you know, and allow them to see kind of the vision of the company of where we're going. I mean, if you look back where we were 2 years from now, I try to keep this, I could try to bring up this story a lot. Carl does it really well in our meetings. You know, it's like, look at where we were 2-3 years ago to where we are now, and then envision in another 2 or 3 years. You know, some of that comes down to the person and the, you know, I hope to think we attract people who are driven and, you know, want to see that stuff too. But it's just like, I try to show them where we could potentially go because people want to see that. You know, in a retail setting, it's hard for people to see it necessarily as a career. So you got to make it more of like a family and, you know, really show a vision of where we're going. But it's hard. I mean, we see turnover. You know, I think the turnover has certainly slowed down recently. I think we're weeding out. We're finding the right people. We're giving the people opportunities who we see. Like, okay, I could see them here in 5-10 years. You know, but it's hard in retail. I'm sure you probably see the same stuff with, you know, retail employees.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. The one thing that I think is very important to you know, getting good people and retaining people in particular is having some sort of development pathway. So, you know, if you come into the company as a casual retail store assistant, which is like for our company at least, the entry level for most people, you know that if you do well at that position, you'll get promoted to a store manager. If you do well at a store manager, you get promoted to a position in head office, and then you can kind of work your way up in head office to a management type position, like Joel, for example.
And then after that, you take Joe's job.
Sorry?
Nothing, man.
Need to change the name of the company. No, but then you move into a management position, and the company will support you by hiring staff underneath you, who you then are responsible for. So having that defined pathway is very important, and then the company culture as well.
Yeah.
You know, if you're coming to work and you're working in a company where everyone's there just to clock in, clock off, do their work, get paid, and get the fuck out of there. That's not a company that's conducive to retaining staff.
Yeah.
You want to really kind of, you know, build the family type feel, or at least the friendship type feel within the company, so that, you know, people are hanging around, train together, go out, have meals together, you know, socialize outside of work, and really start to develop that company culture. I think that's quite important as well.
Yeah, like these events this weekend, a bunch of these guys are getting paid, and we've had I don't know how many employees here today, you know, just to support the events, and that's really important.
You only just told them that they went.
Yeah, no, they just found out.
Yeah.
So, but they'll be seeing this.
They're all gonna leave.
They'll be seeing this after we air the video, so we're good. We're good. That's why we're filming on the last day.
All right, cool. Couple more. Let's see. So, Doug, you have 2 brands and retail stores. Joe, you manage distribution and retail stores. what do you look for in brands? What are determining factors of bringing in a brand?
Me? Whoever, Joe.
You go first because you're retail stores. And then
Okay.
I'll talk about distribution.
I just listened to the Cuck. Cuck wants the brand.
That's not the great idea.
Yeah, actually, no, that is not what we did.
I thought you were going to say I listen to the
We'd have
customer
nothing
then.
but
Very
we'd have
good
nothing
from
but
customer to
e-pollen
customer.
and
Yeah. No, it really does. I mean, that's exactly right. It comes down to the customer if there's a demand there. I mean, obviously, there's the bunch of different aspects in this. It's like, do I feel comfortable selling a product that is good quality to the customer? You know, is there a demand for it, and can we make money on it? At the end of the day, yeah, I mean, I could sit here and say, you know, as long as the customer wants it and stuff, but like we have bills to pay too.
Exactly.
You know, and like there's a real aspect of this that like these guys need to get paid, our employees need to get paid, they need to grow and have positions. So like we have to be able to make some money. So we do have margin requirements, but we do make exceptions for that. You know, if there's a product that I feel is like personally a great quality product that we want to bring in, and really we do it as a collective at this point. You know, I'm out of the retail stores as much, so once a month we get together in our managers meeting, and we have some social media tracking stuff where like people will submit what they want to see, and then we present it. Every manager presents it at the managers meeting. We bring samples. We might even try it that day, and it goes through a process. It has to be accepted by everyone because at the end of the day, no brand is going to be successful in our stores unless our retail managers are behind it. And this is what we tell all the time. How many emails do we get a day that, hey, we got this new crazy product that you should sell? But if people are coming to us for a resource. That's how we established our brand. We're a resource, not a retailer. So when they come in there, they expect, good information, and they trust our guys. And if our guys can't get behind a brand and promote it, most people are going to buy the brands that our guys, use themselves, trust, and, like, and, want to move. We were talking about this in the ride up. One of the big things for me is that I don't want to bring in, yes, we have Core America in our stores and we sell a lot of it, but that's because we really feel they're the highest quality products on the market. It's not because our managers or our retail guys get paid more to sell those products, and that's really big for us. We don't have spiffs or commissions on given brands. Because at the end of the day, we're going to push the brands that are right for the customer, not necessarily the ones that we make the highest margin on. And so, that's something that is been in place since day one, and we're going to continue to do that. I don't believe it. There's performance based on total sales of aggregate products, but not on individual brands. Because you want to push what's right to the customer. So if there's a demand, it goes to our managers. Our managers present it to us, as a management team, and then we make a global consensus of it. But there are some real factors there. Like we have to be able to make money on it too. At the end of the day, so there's a lot going on.
We're very similar with the retail stores as well. When it comes to the distribution side of things, it really comes down to us more even on the side of the products. So we really need to like the products, believe in the products. There needs to be something that stands out about the products. We don't want to sell Me Too type products that every other distributor is distributing. And then the second thing is the people. I mean, we need to like the people that we're in business with.
Yeah.
So
and it needs to be a two-way street with that relationship
absolutely.
as well.
Yeah. I mean, we get along really well with Doug. All the brands that we distribute, we get along personally. Outside of the realm of business, aside, we get along with the people within the business. We get along with all the core guys as well. So those, I think, are the two probably driving factors from the distribution. Though, is the products need to be top-notch, unique, and then we have to get along with.
What about exclusivity? So do you only distribute products that you have exclusives with? Or
Yes.
Yeah. So that's got to be another. I mean,
That's a big one because
It goes with Doug.
we don't want to put in all the hard work and
Exactly.
have some other guy come in and absolutely shit on it for us. So that's,
and I
the
guess
one thing.
that's the we kind of talk very philosophically here about the products and the people, but there is obviously that business driver as well.
Yeah.
And from a retail store perspective, the driver is you need to be making certain margin because you've got bills to pay. From a distribution perspective, you need to have exclusivity because if you don't, you lose control of the brand.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of the business driver.
cool. We good? We gang?
The problem with these cameras is they only record in 30-minute blocks.
Yeah.
So they just hit the 30-minute mark.
And then they,
Alright,
just,
cool.
then they just cut.
That's my key. All right, 2 more questions. What are the biggest differences in Australia versus American consumers? So like the Australian market versus the American market.
And there's a lot of similarities.
Flavors, as we've learned.
The flavors are definitely different. Like
They don't like tea and they don't like citrus.
No, well, there's some citrus flavors that work, but especially cherry flavors over in Australia are tough ones to sell.
Really?
Yeah. There's definitely a different palate over there, that's for sure. But there's definitely a lot of similarities as well. And usually you'll see a trend between the US and Australia. Australia's probably like a couple of years behind the US. So, you know, a big trend that will come out over here will take 18 months to develop over there. So, you know, like the high stim, I guess, pre-workout phase has really started to come in now, whereas over here it's been over here for probably 18 months or so. So it's really starting to come to fruition in Australia now. So there's definitely a lot of similarities, man. Everyone's going for this, especially in the industry we work in, everyone's going for the same goals. You know, they're trying to get, you know, either leaner or bigger or stronger or whatever it might be, so, yeah. And everyone, you know, as far as products go, everyone wants to see everything in no proprietary blends. They want to know exactly what they're taking. That's the most important thing. They want to see the label and see how many milligrams of each product they're seeing. That's obviously why, you know, the products that we distribute, we don't do prop blends because people don't want to see it. You know, they want to know exactly what they're taking. I want to know what I'm taking. So, you know, you can't really sell a product if you don't know what the hell's in it. You know, it might say agmatine on the label, but you don't know the dosage.
What year do you think that shift took place? I'm
Oh, I'd say probably 4 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. So,
I think,
What year
yeah.
did you start?
2004.
Okay.
yeah,
Just
yeah. No, you did it since
Doug
2004.
was ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
By about
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say the other big difference between Australian and American supplement consumers is Australian consumers like everything in powder form. American consumers like everything in pill form. That's
Do you think that's because of the legality of
Yeah, I think-
import? You know, is that why, or and they just kind of got used to it? So
yeah, I think it's definitely got
yeah,
something
definitely.
to do with it because pill form supplements definitely aren't as readily available in Australia as they are in the US because of the regulatory frameworks.
you know, I think we're seeing a little shift in that. Like our core burn. You know, we had the capsules here. We did Burn Ultra to focus on the powder version to focus on the Australian market. I think we sell. Actually, I know we sell more Burn Ultra now in the US than we do the capsules.
See?
There you go.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
you guys are
Americans are actually following the Australians.
Following
That
the
right?
Aussies.
We're ahead of the curve for once.
Yes.
you set yourself up for that.
Yeah.
All right. Last question.
We have to fluff their nuts a little
A
bit.
little bit, yeah, mate. We're not here just to talk business. You know, we want to be walking out of the cloud.
All right, you ready? The last question.
Last
This is
question.
the biggest question.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. You're 16 years old. You're living at your parents' house. What poster do you have on your wall?
Oh.
Jordan wings.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
With the ball.
Yeah.
Hold
I
it.
reckon like when I was 16, I still lived at my parents' house when I was 16. I don't know about you, man. You probably moved out. I reckon I had.
So at least
Yeah,
25.
I reckon I had like a white man can't jump poster on my wall.
Yes.
What, Nick?
Yeah, like the actual movie poster.
Yeah, yeah.
I never took that thing down. That was
So,
awesome.
so I had like a Daisy Duke type girl spread
Of course
across a
you did.
Lambo.
Nice.
I really did. I had Lambos and Daisy Duke girls all over mine.
What color was the Lambo?
I like the bright, like the yellows and
Yeah.
like that. Just the
Wasn't that a Don Johnson white one?
I might have had that one too.
Yeah.
I had a poster that said decisions, 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 and it was like a Lambo, a Ferrari, like a Porsche. Yeah, I was big into like cars back then.
If you had to make that decision now, which would it be? Lambo, Ferrari, or Porsche?
A tank.
That's not an option.
That's an option D. There's always an option D.
You know, Lambos are so obnoxious.
Mm.
They were such an obnoxious car, but there's also something that's really cool about them. You know,
Yeah.
just like, I mean, Ferrari to me is a little bit more classy.
Mm.
Lambo is just like, I have a little but I want you to think I have a really
You know the story behind, we're going off topic now, but because you know the story behind Lamborghini, how it started, right?
I've heard this before, but I forget it. Yes.
So, I can't remember his first name was, but last name Lamborghini was a very successful businessman. He used to run, I think, farms in Italy, some sort of business in Italy, had a lot of money, had bought Ferraris in the past, because Ferrari had been around for a long time, went to the Ferrari factory, couldn't get the Ferrari he wanted or didn't have good customers. There was some issue, some problem with Ferrari, so he decided, well, stuff them, I've got all the money, I'm going to start my own car company and start a Lamborghini.
There you go.
So it started.
And now
out
there's
frustrating.
LaFerrari, right? Aren't there LaFerraris?
LaFerrari was a type of Ferrari. They made
But isn't there like a joint Lambo Ferrari hybrid out there?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No.
I'm pretty sure they still hate each other as companies.
Yes.
They're gonna like Pimp My Ride or something.
Oh yes. Bobby, can we get some Porsches and Lambos and Ferraris?
He might just make you look like an idiot now and not do it.
Yeah, now it's just gonna be like
This is all.
he's gonna have arrows like. But let me change the question. Really, I know we're running out of time here, but if you could go back to that 16-year-old and tell him something or change something about your path between that 16-year-old and where you are now, what would it be?
Are we talking philosophically or training or everything? No, that's a tough one.
I don't think you want to go back to 16-year-old Swalbear.
Don't smoke crack.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, man, that's a tough one. Like, I don't know.
I wouldn't change a thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
No.
change a thing. I think everything that you go through and experience leads you to. Steve Jobs had the saying where he said you can't join the dots looking forward, you can only join them looking backwards. And if I look back to when I was 16, if like anything significant in my life had changed,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here.
Well, that's like the butterfly.
Well, how about this? Yeah, what about the advice that you could give that 16-year-old?
Ooh. Oh man. Look, like if I'm gonna pick something pick something like training, it's just
Or like, what could you tell your son or your daughter when she's 16 and she's going through this, not sure what I want to do?
just one. I've got something. Just you only get one shot at it. So that when you go for it, just give it 100%. That's it. If you fail, you fail. But just give it 100% effort. Don't half-ass whatever you do. Just give it 100. Whether it's sports or training or school, you can't go back and do it again. So just give it one chance because it'll be over quickly. Especially if you look at like sporting careers or whatever it might be. Even training for some people, it's over fast, and then you get to the point where you can't do it as well as what you could when you're a lot younger. So
for me, it's definitely you got to follow your passion.
yeah,
And like,
definitely.
so I was in a corporate world for 12 years, and I was doing this on the side, which, in hindsight, just like you said, none of this would be possible today without the experiences. The skills I learned in doing that are instrumental here. The money that I made doing that are instrumental in building these businesses and all of that. So I wouldn't change that. But I think, when I first went to school, I was looking at like, what should I be? I had really good grades, and I should be a doctor or a lawyer. So I went to school, studied science, and like I realized very quickly I didn't like blood, so I didn't want to be a doctor. But why did I want to be a doctor? It wasn't a passion of mine to help heal people. Like that was not my passion. Why would I want to do that? Because maybe that's like the job to have. It's like a cool thing to have. Or like, we were saying I applied to some Ivy League schools. Like, luckily for me, I didn't end up going to an Ivy League school. Why did I apply to those Ivy League schools? It's because I should have. It's not because I really liked that school. I went to the school that I actually loved the most. But like, if I got into Princeton, I probably would have ended up going there, and I probably would have hated it. And then, just following the career in consulting, I ended up doing consulting because that was kind of like the elite job to have in the early 2000s. It's like you made really good money. You could get into a great MBA program. It was the right thing to do. I almost pursued a PhD program in economics, but that was just kind of part of the stepping stone of what I thought was the successful thing to do. Was I passionate about any of that? No. And I would have sucked at probably all of that if I really pursued that. And so like the thing that I'm going to tell Jackson is like, and Griffin is like, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you don't work out. I don't care if you don't like supplements. I'd love for them to be involved in what we do. But if they don't love that, that's fine. Find something that you love. You love to play the guitar. Be the best freaking guitar player you can be.
Yeah.
I'll do anything to help you be put in that position to be the best you can be at that. Follow your passion, because what's going to happen is you're going to be that much better at it, that much happier at it, and you're going to draw people towards you who see your passion. And that's why I think both of our brands have been successful. I think we're both extremely passionate about what we do, and we draw people with the same passion to that. And so that for me is like That's my big thing. It's like, I don't care what you're doing, but if you're really not meant to go down a corporate path or something like that, don't do it.
Don't force it.
You don't force a 9 to 5 just because find something you're passionate about and go, like as you said, balls deep. Just go 100%.
Advice?
How
For the
do I
junior
top
yeah, we just know.
I agree with both of you guys, and I had to kind of go down my list because you kind of knocked off. Doug's was my top, and then yours was kind of the second.
Yeah.
And I guess probably the third is make the most of every opportunity, but a little more direct than how you put it, and that is to execute. Execution is everything. I think, as a 16-year-old, you might have a lot of ideas and things that you want to do and sports that you want to play, or whatever it may be, but very rarely do you actually go and do it.
Yeah.
Actually follow through with it. And you can have the best ideas in the world, or have the biggest passion in the world, or have the biggest sporting opportunity in the world, whatever it may be. But if you don't actually execute and actually get shit done, it's wasted. So
I think that people get caught up in that because they're afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
But it's those failures that make you grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not necessarily failure. I mean, some people are afraid of success. If you're a very talented sports person, you may be afraid of what success brings with it.
Yeah.
But it's a fear of something. That it's definitely fear is the emotion that holds people back from executing. So as difficult as it is to do as a youngster, as a 16-year-old, is to kind of confront that fear head on and execute.
Oh, it's a wrap. Episode number 26.
Is this when we break out into dance like a musical?
Do the dance. Show them the dance. Alright, I don't even know what to call that.
That dance is so much worse than the
Alright,
dance.
what's
They'll be so proud of that. Yeah, they will. Camera. That's the how made move.
Till next time, thanks for watching, guys. Keep crushing it.